And we also have an example letter from a farmer about the changes that we see really needs to happen in that bill, including allowing personal use growth, even maybe making a smaller license fee for that, just to kind of compromise and meet them where they're at. Also taking away the need to contract with a processor. And also, what else is in there? What else are we asking to change? Does anyone know what they want to change in that bill? Has anyone read it? We've got farmers here, right? Well, we want to add also growing fiber and grain, you know, which is not really in there as well. But are there any questions about the bill? Or about talking to your legislator in general? Has anyone talked to your legislator? Raise your hand. In general, you talked to your legislator? Cool. What have you talked about? Also about what? Okay. Nice, thank you. Well, do you know that hemp is a huge part of resolving climate change? Yeah, I've showed up at that climate, the rallies, and I've like pulled up big signs, plant hemp, but I seem to be the only person talking about it, which blows my mind because I think it's the only thing, like Jack Hurr says, that can save the world, if anything can. Because there are issues with electric cars. Where are you going to put the batteries? You know, you can actually make the batteries out of hemp. What are we going to just all have to buy new cars? You know, electric cars aren't exactly the answer. I mean, I think not driving is definitely a good answer at all. But yeah, hemp really is. They need to start seeing that hemp is the answer to climate change. And I've written to a lot of climate change people about it, and now's the time they need to start listening, right? For real. For real. Who knows? Who can say one thing I haven't told you that hemp can do to help the environment? Do you know that it remediates soil? That it takes toxins out of the soil. It helps prepare the land for vegetation. What else? What else do you know?
Make clothes out of it? Make ropes out of it?
You can. Do you know that the clothing industry right now is one of the most polluting? What was that?
Big business trying to shut it down.
Yeah.
That's what I get there.
Yeah.
I don't know that much.
Yeah, the economic system is very interesting. So yeah, so we appreciate your support. We have hemp t-shirts. And the last June we did an event called Hemp Out the Toxins, where I invited all the environmental groups. Like, I wanted to bridge the gap and be like, come join us, because this isn't just about smoking, you know? This is actually about saving the environment, you know? And not people are like, oh, it's too taboo to talk about hemp when we talk about climate change. It's not PC. But it actually, that's all the illusion, you know? The truth is never PC, you know? It's never comfortable when it's not something that you're used to, you know? When you have to kind of change the way you see the reality, when you have to face the fact that you've been lied to about things, or you haven't been told the whole truth about things. It's painful, but you have to have pain. You have to feel that pain if you want to feel the reality and actually change the world and change and make a difference. So yeah, those shirts are called Hemp Out the Toxins because we have serious water issues in Georgia. Our water is not clean. There's estrogen in it, there's psychiatric drugs. It's not being cleaned out from all the things people take internally. It's in the water that we drink. It's not all being cleaned out. There's fluoride, chlorine, all kinds of things, dioxin, that we need to start paying attention to that for our health. It's not just about catching a sickness, it's about actually having bodies that are resistant because we have less toxins in them, and that we can get the toxins out quickly and they don't fester inside of us. So just like hemp remediates the land, hemp does remediate the body. as well. And there's foods you can eat. You know, they don't even make you high. The hemp foods have essential proteins in them, essential omega fatty acids. You can juice the leaves. You can eat that hemp oil, which is just food grade hemp oil, hemp seed oil. Let me make that distinction. And that feeds your brain. So anyway, I could talk all day about hemp, but I'd rather listen to Mother Nafisa talk about hemp right now. Are you ready for me to introduce you? Wow. Well, I have the absolute pleasure to introduce this mama, this Mother Nafisa. Oh, I'm gonna change the glove. Don't worry. That's what it's all about. If you want, you can grab it for me, or I can grab it. It's right there on the piano. How do I introduce this woman? I just want to say that she is a woman that wears many, many hats, just like the hemp plant has many, many uses. She's a natural healer. She has a hemp business called Hemp Wise, and she is very wise. And she's an artist, she's an entrepreneur, she is a lover of life and brings life to people and helps them be aware of this life energy. And I just want you all to give her a very, very warm welcome today, because it really is an honor to have her share her energy with us today and her wisdom. So when you put your hands together, just let me feel your positive energy.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm pleased to be here. As I said, despite the craziness that's going on in the world, global. Can you hear me? Can you hear me better?
Yeah.
Good. I said I'm very honored to be here and to be speaking to you. You can't hear me.
Can you turn this
Can
up?
you turn it up louder? You can't hear me.
Let me take this out first.
All right, testing.
Testing 1, 2, 3. You got it?
Yeah.
Okay. I guess you got to get in closer if you want to get some more. Okay, I'm going to tell you a little bit about me, because I just want you to know who I am, and I want to feel your energy. I'm a mother, a grandmother, and a great-grandmother. Started kind of young. But I'm also an engineer, a systems engineer. I owned a computer engineering company back in the 80s in Buckhead, and I've done a few things, traveled the world. I'm an artist, so I have an exhibition up. Currently, it should have came down though, really, in November, but it became so popular, they kept it up from September of last year to November, and we got an award, or I got an award. I say we because the Lord is in this with me. So we got an award, and I'm going to get to the hemp, but I just want to loosen you up a little bit. Plus, I want to loosen up. From the city of Atlanta, city council, and we were going to bring it down again, had another closing. Then we got an award from the state of Georgia, the state representatives. Then we're going to bring it down again, and it was asked to stay. And I'm going to tell you what it is in a minute. You may have seen it. We got an award from Governor Hemp, the governor of Georgia. So it was to be extended to March the 15th. March the 13th, I came to get the plants out and start dismantling some things. And up pops COVID-19. And the library was literally closed on the 13th of March. Could have been the 5th. Yeah, 13th, it was coming down. the 13th. Needless to say, the exhibit is still up. It's called Silver Living Legacies. I'm a photographer. I'm going to bring this closer to me so I don't have to bend over the wall. That was easy. I'm 70 years old, so I don't bend too much anymore. Anyway, and I'm telling all my business. I hear she's televising this. I need to hold back a little bit. The event was the Silver Living Legacies at the Auburn Avenue Research Library. If you haven't been, you might want to go when it opens up again. It's still up there, needless to say. So that's phase one. Phase two is supposed to begin in October of this year. I don't know. It might be extended to next year. The show is about 25 women in Atlanta that are 60 and above. And I'm going to cut it off right there. Go check it out. So, going back to hemp. I've been teaching hemp over 20-something years. I mean, I grew up knowing a lot about hemp because I'm Native American and African American. I have a grandmother who's Cherokee and a grandfather who is a freeman during slavery. He came here when he was 17. And so my cultural history is closely tied to the original hemp. And I say original because the original plant was the hemp plant, and the grafting of the marijuana plant came over years and years. So you'll know the original hemp plant only has 0.3 THC, which is one of the cannabinoids that is in the hemp plant. There are thousands of cannabinoids in the hemp plant. Most scientists have not studied all of them. The most common to have been studied is the CBD, which is one of the cannabinoids, and it's called a cannabinol. So you know the difference. Cannabinols are individual cannabinoids. And one of the main things, I don't have a whole lot of time to talk tonight, so I just want to get some points. I do teach classes on, and we are supposedly to have one later this year here. So you're welcome to come. And there will be a fee. It's not free. Does anybody know about the endocannabinoid system? Or have you ever heard of that? Just raise your hand. One person, two people, three people. Okay, good. So they know. You don't. So I'm going to tell you. Let's break the word down. Let's have a little fun. Endo. What does endo mean? Not from the guys that know. I'm talking to the people that don't know. What does endo mean? Come on, everybody know what endo. You got endo, you got exdo, you got, come on, endo. Endo means it's inside of us. See, I want to step away from this mic, but it's not going to be feasible. The endo system, and it's an endo system, there's a cannabinoid system within all of us. Now, I know that's hard for you to believe, so I'm challenging each of you to go study the endocannabinoid system. So, breaking it down, endo means there's a system inside of every living creature, every animal, every insect, every human. So, what does that mean? Endo means it's inside of our bodies, and it's governed from our head. And then synapses, when you put oil in your body, it goes through a synapses. We have receptors in our body. And I believe the ancients knew this, and many of the scientists today know it. But you can't control hemp. It grows anywhere, in any climate, in any soil, in sand. It's hard to tax something that's naturally from the Creator. Anybody feeling what I'm saying? Good. So, the endocannabinoid system in your body feeds off what it needs. And I'm trying to break this down in layman terms because I really want you to get it. And I want you to leave here and tell everybody you know about it. Because they're not going to tell you in the hospital. Your doctor's not going to tell you because they don't know. You see, hemp was classified and certified to be a drug. A class 1 drug up there with heroin and cocaine and opium. Because they wanted to mix it with marijuana, which is again a grafted plant. Don't forget that. Marijuana, the grafting part is the THC. You can take anything, and if you keep multiplying it and multiplying, it gets stronger and stronger. I hear now they got THC in some of these marijuana plants that'll knock you out for a couple of days. You wake up and wonder what happened. I don't know. Never tried that one. But I do know that the hemp plant is a healing plant. And we're talking about the CBD cannabinoids. And again, there are thousands of cannabinoids in the hemp plant. But the two that you most commonly hear about is the THC and the CBD. And there is THC in the hemp plant. It's only 0.03%, which is legal. Now, going back to the receptors, I just wanted to give you a little background information. Your body has receptors in it. So if you put CBD oil in your body, and CBD doesn't necessarily come from hemp. It can come from different vegetations. It can come from different fruits and vegetables. Okay? CBD comes in your body through the receptors, and there's something called a synapse. So, and that's carried through the electrical system in our body, the nervous system. And what CBD does, it connects with these receptors, and it goes and heals whatever is imbalanced in your life. And most of us live a life that's imbalanced. Why? And I'm talking about internally, because we eat the wrong foods, we drink polluted water, we drink toxic air. Nothing is pure anymore. So if you want to balance those things, we need some herbs to balance it. I'm very hesitant to use the term medicine, because medicine is not what you need. You see, you need medicine when you have a medical problem. And if you go to the hospital, you will have medical problems. You go to doctors, you will have medical problems. Therefore, they counteract that with medicine, S-I-N. Do the research on that too. I'm just giving you some nuggets of gold to run with. Going back to the synapses and the receptors. Let's say you have cancer. What CBD oil does with the receptors, it goes and targets the area of the body that needs the help. So what does it do, Mother Nafisa? It goes and says, you got to get out of here. This cancer in your stomach. It goes and tells the foreign cells, you got to get out of here. And if you don't go, hemp. And so they had legalized it only because, and I say this with a preference, because many of the Europeans had children that had illnesses that were incurable, and many doctors gave them death sentences. There was one family here in Georgia, a newborn child that had an inherited illness. I won't call it a disease, because disease is when the body is not at ease, it's not balanced, so they call it disease. We don't have diseases. We have bodies that are diseased. To ease the body, you need something that's natural. And the most natural thing on the planet Earth is hemp. It's been investigated, it works. I'll give you a personal story. My mother was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. Well, I'm sorry, not Alzheimer's. That's what I didn't want to say, and I'm very cautious. She was not diagnosed with Alzheimer's. She was diagnosed with short-term memory is Alzheimer's. And my mother was bleeding in the head, in the area where the pineal gland is, above the oblongata, medulla oblongata. And I know that might not mean a whole lot to a lot of you folks, but it's the part of the brain that you cannot cut in. It's in a triangle shape. You cannot go there or it would be instant death. So in my infinite wisdom of knowing about cannabis and a court battle to get my mother legally, which I got, who was on 12 medications, I decided to take her off of all of them gradually. And I did. And I gave her cannabis. Who gives you the authority to pronounce a death sentence on my mother? I defy that. And I did. I gave my mother a pace. The pace is a concentrate. At the time, the highest I could get was 3,000 milligrams. And all you need is a little dab. I asked if you want to vape it, you want to smoke it, you want to what? She says no, because she used to smoke. It's too much like smoking. I say, well, Mom, how about if we just get a paste and put it on your tongue? And it's the most effective way and the strongest of the CBD concentrates. And I use that under her tongue, just a rice kernel size under your tongue. Gradually, my mother got better and better. I took her off of all the medications. We went on trips. We just had a ball. She went from a walker to a cane, from a cane to just walking like you and I. And her last doctor's appointment with her neurologist, because she was seeing a neurologist because it was a head issue, and she had other ailments, and all the pain dissipated. There is no pain. I tell people I should have pain, but I don't, because I religiously believe in cannabis and don't go a day without it. And I'm a living witness. I've been hit by cars, and this is a true story. I've been in near fatal accidents, head-on collisions, you name it, it's happened. But I live by cannabis. Once I was in the ambulance, and the driver said her blood pressure's over 250 over 80. We got to give her some drugs. I'm like, no, you can't do that. I was still conscious, and I wasn't crazy, and I'm not afraid of death. But I said, you could die. I said, well, let me die. I won't do we can't, blah, blah. I said, you know what, call my family. My family came. I told them, if I can get up and I can stand, you on one side and my granddaughter on the other side, I'll walk. I walked off of that ambulance. I'm telling you, my kids were infuriated. But I said, and I meant, if I die tonight, it'll be in my bed. I didn't die. I went home, I soaked, I rubbed down. I took some CBD oil. I woke up the next morning hurting and feeling bad. But I'm still here. You know, and I still go to a chiropractor, not your doctor. So I'm saying to you that I don't take any aspirin either because I don't get headaches. You see, you can have this too in your life if you believe. But you can't be fearful. You have to be fearless because this is how we live to be ripe old ages. And I say that emphatically because the Native Americans lived to ripe ages. Slaves lived to ripe ages, even though we were worked to death. Life is meant to be easy. And now that legislation has passed, because there was a remedy for these children outside of medicine, it came from the earth. Now, I heard the host of Viva talk about George Washington Carver, awesome man, founded Tuskegee University. And of course, he had many helping hands helping him. And financially, he was broke. He had no money. And I'm just going to tell you a little story about him. He's walking down the street. He was always dressed in a suit. Back during Reconstruction, many of the ex-slaves, and he was an ex-slave, they were very dignified men, very proud men. And most of them wore suits. Where they got them, I'm not sure, but they had suits. So he's walking down the road one day, and he sees this lady in her lawn mowing the grass, trying to get the weeds out. So he stopped as a young man and asked if he could help. And she said, "Oh no, you're dressed too nice. It's okay." He said, "No, I'd love to help you." She's a senior lady. And so he started taking his coat off, and he helped her. And she was so proud and so pleased that he did such an awesome job. Because, you know, as a child, he was studying the earth. He was studying the vegetations. So she became his benefactor. He didn't have a job. And she helped found the Tuskegee University and got her friends involved. And that's why that university stands today. Because this brother was awesome. He also taught farmers how to grow hemp and when to grow it. Because he's in the South, hemp can be grown 4 times a year. It's beyond bicentennial. I don't even know what you would call 4 times a year. But the way the crop season would go, and I'm not a farmer, and if the farmers out there, please correct me. First, let me tell you the story behind why this is done. He would tell the farmers to grow hemp in the winter, because vegetation's not going to grow in the winter. Because what the hemp does is it fertilizes our body, it fertilizes the earth. It adds the potassium, the phosphorus, the nitrogen back to the earth. And then he says, in the next growing season, once you crop the hemp, grow vegetation. Because the earth is revitalized. Now our earth is dead because they destroyed the hemp farmers. And they weren't just black, there were plenty white hemp farmers. And they got a lot of their knowledge from George Washington Carver. But they're not going to tell us that in history books. They, you know, first thing, let me say this. Everything you've heard in your history books, majority of it are lies. The truth is yet to be told. And sometimes you can research and you won't find things that people like me talk about because they don't want the public to know. So I just want to emphasize that. So going back to the growth and plantation, it's hemp vegetation, and that would be in the spring. Then you have the summer. The summer is very hard to grow vegetation. It's so hot, blah, blah, blah. Grow hemp. It revitalizes and put nutrition in the earth. After summer, what do you have? Come on now, y'all paying attention? I can't hear you. Good, good. The fall. So then there's vegetation again in the fall. And then, as the fall ends, you grow some more hemp in the winter. Now, this is history, I'm telling you. You may not see it in the almanacs and different various books, but this is what happened. This is what went on. Then you have the period after Reconstruction, and many slaves helped hemp farmers, and they did the work, of course, and they did the growing. And then they got some of their own farms. But during the Depression, all that ended. I think it was like in the 20s and 30s. During the prohibition of liquor, remember that? Now, some of y'all don't remember because I didn't remember it. I found out and read about it. It was before my time. But folks in the South made that moonshine and gut liquor, and what are some of the other names?
White lightning.
White lightning. Okay. And there's so many more, because they didn't have access to liquor because the government was trying to find out how they could put a tax on it. Once they figured that out and they got taxes on it, I think the Kennedys became very wealthy families, the DuPonts, the Rothschilds, you name it. They was down in Georgia when they passed a lot of bills to pass legislation to take hemp farms down, labeling it as marijuana and putting it in a category of dangerous drugs, classified as number 1. Now there's legislations being presented to remove that off the drug list because it's not a drug. And like I said, it goes to heal your body. The bleeding in my mother's head stopped. And they want to take tests. They want to figure out what I'm doing. I'm not a doctor. I can tell you nothing. We're just living holistically and naturally. And my mother was off of the drugs. So I say to you, there's so much more to the story and so much more to the history. But I challenge each of you, if you're really interested in natural healing, study the hemp plant, because the receptors are waiting for the nutrition from the CBD oils. I don't care what you got. You can have, what's that, myalgia, because now everybody, they say, got myalgia, pain in the body. Clear that up real quick. Get on some hemp. You got, what's another popular thing that came out? And all of this is food related. I just want you to know. The doctor will tell you change your diet. He'll tell you take this pill. The pain continues. If you change your diet and you get on something natural, like hemp products, dysfunctional. What's that thing that men have? Dysfunctional? Am I saying it right? Dysfunctional or is it dysfunctional? Dis. You know, we used to use the term dis. I dish you with something like that. Well, that's what's going on. You're being dissed. Get on some hemp. Change that. Because the body will naturally balance the system. It knows what it needs. Nobody has to figure it out. It knows what it needs. There's so many uses for hemp. So, how much time I got? What time is it? 1:33. I still got a little time. And that was one of the things I really wanted you to understand, was the endocannabinoid system. You're walking around with something very powerful in your body, and you don't know it. You know, like some people, they went through chemotherapy, they went through radiation, they don't have cancer no more. It wasn't from them drugs that was killing their body. You can believe that. It was from their endocannabinoid system. It really was. And probably they was doing something other than taking chemotherapy and radiation. Because what happens, I used to work at the University of Chicago as a phlebotomist years ago. And I've seen people come and go, and I mean, it just was overwhelming for me. But I remember there was a young man, had to be about between 25 and 30. He was going through chemotherapy. Guess what they gave him? Because he was having nausea and throwing up all the time, and he had these headaches, and he couldn't function. Guess what they gave him? I can't hear you.
Oxycontin.
They gave you marijuana. After chemotherapy, y'all never heard that? Who didn't never hear that? Raise your hand, raise your hand. You never heard that, huh? Yeah. If you take enough chemotherapy and radiation, and you get so sick, the last thing, and particularly if you mention it, I think he mentioned it, if I'm not mistaken, because I was in my 20s back then. I think he said, I told them what I need is some marijuana. And they said, well, let us do some research. And they did a little research, and they found out, I believe it was either in Jerusalem, Canada, somewhere other than the United States, they found out that the marijuana, it was specifically marijuana, it wasn't hemp, would help him. That man got through the radiation and chemotherapy, and he told me he was cancer-free, but it wasn't from the stuff they gave him. I'm real clear on that. It was from his endocannabinoid system working with the cannabinoids. Even though it was marijuana, and it's okay, because marijuana is just high in THC. But it has CBD there too, because that's the mother. You see what I'm saying? You're following me. Okay, CBD is the chief ingredient in hemp. Yes, it has THC, but only 0.3%. Everything works in unity, synergistically, harmoniously in nature. Do the birds fight? There are all kinds of varieties of birds. Do they fight? Come on, I'm waiting on an answer. Do birds fight? They do? No, they don't. Birds don't fight. When the last time you saw a bird fight each other? They don't. Matter of fact, when I was younger, in my 20s and 30s, I used to go out in the woods, go on a farm, and the most beautiful symphony you ever want to hear is a bird concerto. I mean, different birds going off and singing is unbelievable. But you have to be in tune with nature to really understand it and believe it and see it. And I'm not just talking about birds, I'm talking about anybody here. Dogs that fight, but normally they're harmonious. They're eating all kind of crazy food, getting all kind of crazy drugs just like us. So we wind up fighting each other because of our belief systems, because of our diets, because of our fears. But we're harmonious people, and we should be living in unity and helping each other, because all we need on this earth is each other and hemp. So I don't know how much more time I got, but I'm going to stop and ask questions now. Anyone has any questions?
Naturally, hemp had like what, 1% THC, 2%, because the 0.3 is squeezing. Yeah.
0.3 has been, that's what hemp is.
What about historically?
Historically, ain't nothing changed.
I think it was like 1 or 2%.
That's what the books want you to know. But the plant hemp has not changed. None of the cannabinoids have changed. The plant hemp, that's the way it always was. They're not going to even tell you that the marijuana plant was grafted from the hemp. They don't want you to know that because they want you to think it's one plant, but it's not. If you take the RNA and the DNA of anything, you can cross-match it and grow whatever you want. Marijuana is a grafted plant. And if you never heard it before and it's the first time you heard it, tell everybody you heard it from Mother Nafisa.
Yeah.
Any more questions? Come on now. Y'all got some questions for me. Yes, sir.
So basically, hemp is like a cash crop. It's even more so than cotton.
You know, I can't hear you. Can you come a little closer? Oh, come on now. You young.
No, so basically, hemp you say is a cash crop, even more so than cotton. Yeah.
Let me tell you about that.
Like it would replace cotton, basically.
Of course, hemp is the purest and the most natural substance for clothes. And back in the day, that's what our clothes were made of. Native Americans, all clothes was made of hemp. And majority of the slaves that had knowledge, and believe me, the slaves were very wise. Because they came from a very wise country, and I'm one of those wise inheritance. You ever seen people with little corn cob pipes back in the day? Guess what they were smoking? I didn't hear you.
Hemp.
They were smoking hemp. Wasn't no hospitals for us to go to. And I'm basically talking about my people right now. Didn't nobody care about us, but we did, because we knew the Lord and we knew the earth. The Native Americans too, we knew the earth. There was no illness because we knew hemp. Hemp was the best crop, but if it's the best crop and it's cheap and everybody has access to it, and it grows in any fertile or non-fertile environment, and you run in a country that's capitalistic, what do you think they're going to do?
Shut it down.
Shut it down. Now, cotton, during the time of that industrial revolution, a lot of people think cotton was the main capital of the United States, but it wasn't. I don't want y'all to be deceived. I didn't want to get on this side of the subject, but I will. What slavery was the chief institution that gained the most economical dollars for any cotton farmer, for the government. So don't be deceived by the lies. The truth is time to be revealed. It has to be revealed. That's scripture. If you know anything about the Quran, the Bible, the Torah, the Bhagavad Gita, there's so many different religions and books. It's all been prophesied. There will come a day and a time when the people would rise. And not rise out of fear, not rising because they're afraid of anything. It's historical. I don't know who your God is or what you believe, but what I believe in is that the earth will rise. The people are on the earth. The vegetation comes from the earth. So everything must rise. It's not coincidental that people are marching about Black Lives Matter. They always matter. All lives matter. But there comes a time when people become fed up. You can march all day for peace, but peace ain't gonna bring me no happiness if you still got your foot on my neck or your knee. Peace comes through tranquility and blending of humanities. I got a poem I wrote when I was about 24. I just want to share it to you, then I'm going to shut it down. I'm just giving these two ladies a chance to get through their conversation. Y'all finished? It's okay. I'm patient and I'm polite. It's okay. It's all right. Any other questions first?
How do we reach you?
How do we reach me? I'm reachable. I would share that I have a table over here with some of my products. I love you to look at them. And to take some CBD oil home, or some CBD oil candy, or some flowers. I got it all. But in closing, I mentioned that we may be doing classes here, because I would love to be in this environment, not because I have a story to tell about hemp, but because I too am an artist, and I love art, and I just want to throw this plug in for art. Any artist on the planet Earth, whether you sing, you dance, you blow an instrument, you draw, you paint, you photograph, you're a creator. All of us are creators. So when folks tell you they pray to the Creator, or will you pray for me? I always tell people you got to pray for yourself. You are the creator. You see, there's something in America, and it's spread all around the world. It's called born again Christians. What do? Look like they all in this mess, causing confusion in teaching people how to dislike other people. A born again Christian? I don't understand. One of y'all can help me understand, because that I don't understand. So, in closing, I might as well give a plug to alkaline water too. That's about the purest and the closest you're going to get to some good water. And I'm a distributor of the condom machine. I thought I'd throw that little plug in there. It's a natural system. When you take my class, you get a certification. And it's a certification of recognition. You see, I'm not a big university. And this was my mother's certification here. My mother died when she was 87. She was diagnosed when she was 90. I'm sorry, I'm flipping ahead. She would be 90. Her birthday, she would be 92 today, I think. Not today, but her birthday this July. But she was 79 when I got her. She took my class because I wanted her to understand what was happening to her. And my mother's mind, I'm telling you, she was in full working order. She asked me one day, she says, what did I have for breakfast? I said, Mom, I don't know why you asked me that. I don't know. Because I can't remember what I had for breakfast. Most people can't. That was a joke. I didn't hear that letter. But it's the truth. Can anybody here remember what they had for breakfast? How about dinner last night? What did you wear yesterday? I say, Mommy, it's okay. She did well. But if there's no other questions, I know there's another speaker, and I'm going to lead way. And I just want everyone to know that I'm here out of love for humanities. And I want everyone to heal. And I'm tired of people being deceived. I mean, everything you've heard about history, and I know this is a bold statement, but tell them Mother Nafisa had it was a lie. The truth has to be told. Thank you so much for inviting me, and I think I got some cards from my art world, not from my hemp world. And as Aviva was saying, I have a new company, and it's from Georgia farmers, not Georgia farmers, but Carolina farmers. And the packages of hemp are from the Carolina farmers. They're grown, they're prepared, they're all distilled and everything there in the state of Carolina. The company's name, and look out for it, it's called HempWise. My goal is to make sure that everyone becomes wise in the usage of hemp because it saves lives. Thank you so much.
Yay!